What is up, everybody? We are back. It is another great day in the hobby. I am DCI Jason, joined today by a very special guest. We have head of DCI Media. He is in charge of all the posts, the creativity, the content you see on all of our social media channels, the YouTube, the whatnot. We are joined by Grayson Nolet, DCI Grayson.
What is up, people?
Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
I guess it's my second appearance.
Welcome back.
I think I've had, I had one other appearance.
I should say welcome back to the podcast.
There
It's a pleasure to have you back on today. I know we've got a lot of stuff to cover, mostly concerning DCI's new slabs.
Absolutely. October 1st. It's this weekend, basically. Early submissions, man. It's been a long time coming, but we've got big, sexy Bradley Crenshaw already taken off for Vegas. So a lot of big things happening for DCI in Vegas for the next basically like week and a half.
That's right.
So,
we've got the Industry Summit, the Beckett Industry Summit out there, followed by the Las Vegas Card Show.
Yep. It's going to be a really exciting show coming up.
DCI Jed and myself will be out there doing raw card reviews on site all week long. Can't wait to see all of our some familiar faces out there and grade some bangers for you guys.
Yep, so Big Sexy's out there early, so I'm stepping in for the podcast today here at the DCI HQ.
That's
and
right.
What a better time with the slab submissions coming up, man.
Seriously, it has been a long 3-year process. You know what I mean? Something that when we even started, we were not even thinking about becoming a grading company, a slabbing company, putting any of that out there, really. And it has been a whirlwind ride the last 3 years. I'm so proud of our team and everything that we've built here because we are, well, I'd like to say that we're at the finish line, right? But in reality, we're just getting started.
Yeah,
we are just scratching the surface of what DCI grading, but just the company in general is going to become.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more when there's so much work I feel like that we've already put into it. And yet this is just kind of the beginning of the whole process, it feels 100%. Like, to an extent at the same time, because it's just the early submissions. So, there's still so many big things to come involving it. And 100%. I think that it's just it's fun to know that we've made it like this far already, though, and that we're already gotten so many steps closer to kind of where we want to be in the whole process. So it's been, a lot of learning for a lot of us that have, not been with companies like PSA or Beckett or something like that in the past. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of see like, oh, wow, so that's what a slab machine looks like. And this is, how that goes down and all those types of things. And so that's been a lot of fun to kind of finally be, hands-on with behind-the-scenes stuff, I feel like.
Well, and you kind of touched on it. The card market is not, well, it wasn't in the past. We'll say maybe back up 5 years. There was not a whole lot of full-time jobs, right? Like this was not an industry where, people off the street or out of college were hopping right into the collectibles industry like they would banking or real estate or something, like that, a much more traditional industry like that. So I think there is a lot of, like you said, the information behind the scenes that we get to see every day that, people in the hobby might not generally get to experience, right?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things too where I think grading especially, right?
Totally.
The grading side of the hobby is such a, I feel
Closed
like
doors.
such a closed door operation, I mean, credit to SGC. They're really, I feel, I don't know if other companies have, but I know that they've been one of the only grading companies out there to, really publicly show off how their process goes down. But that's something that, again, it's just not just collectors, but just people in general. There's not a lot of information out there on how all of these things go down. And that's something that we're hoping to really change with our process. But at the same time, in order to develop what we've wanted to do, like I said, you have to learn a lot, in a short amount of time as well. So I think that it's been, trying to learn and educate ourselves and the whole team on, all right, what works for these other companies, what doesn't, what do we think we can do better, and what do we think we can do differently? And I think that all of those different questions and answering those questions, the right way and doing things the right way here at DCI with our slabs, it's all been really important, but a lot of time goes into it, man. Really does.
100%. I think all of that kind of goes into our end goal of putting the value back in the hands of the collectors, like adding transparency to the grading side of things, right? We want to, on the streaming side of things, we grade your card immediately. We're trying to add that value back to the collector. But mainly, again, as you and I are daily in the office seeing these things on the back end, we are often asked a lot of questions about the grading process, about our early submissions.
As our social media guy, I can
you can attest.
Confidently say that we get a lot of questions in our DMs on all social media platforms and in our email as well. I know our customer service people are always dealing with a lot of and I mean, recently, a lot of those questions have been about slabs. Yes.
And that makes me so happy. You know why? Because that means we are on their radar. They are paying attention. They are watching the videos that you're creating. All that time that you guys spend in the office
100%
is not going to waste. Like, it is hitting our demographic. It's hitting our customers. Everyone's getting excited for this early submission.
Yep.
And now it's here. It's right around the corner, October 1st, like you said, early submissions for DCI. But really what I want to talk about today on the podcast is some of those questions that our customers have. They've reached out to us, like you said, via social media, via email, at shows in person. We're here. This episode is here to kind of clear up some confusion or maybe just some general questions that people have about early submissions, slabs in general. And so I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you've prepared some of the most frequently asked questions from our following.
So I know that, we made a lot of content, a lot of videos about the slab submissions and tried to give people a little bit of insight as to how that process is going to go down and things like that. But, we still get a lot of feedback. We still get a lot of questions about it all, whether we've done a video on it or not. And so I thought that this episode specifically would be really good, with the early submission starting on October 1st, right around the corner. That'd be a good opportunity for us to, address some of those frequently asked questions, like you said, those FAQs.
That's right.
About the early submission process. And the ones that I have picked out here have either come from somebody who asked us this at a card show, through our email, through social media. Perfect. We've got a nice little list here of some of the fan questions that we've got about submission. So I thought you and I could go over those. Absolutely. And hopefully somebody who doesn't already know will now know by the end of this episode and be ready to send in their cards to us for those early submissions.
That's right, guys.
This weekend, guys.
We cannot wait. Again, if there are any questions that we don't cover, make sure to leave us a comment, follow
100%.
On our YouTube video. We are actively responding to all of that as well.
I'm always down. I mean, anybody who has messaged us on social media before, I always do my best to respond as quickly as possible. There's one or two people who do have access to the Instagram, so sometimes it's not always specifically me answering the question, but we do our best to respond as quickly as possible. We want to help you guys out. So yeah, if we don't address anything in this episode that you are still curious about, feel free to send us a message and ask us. We are here to help you guys. That is what we are all about. So I'll go ahead and drop the first question here on you, and it may seem kind of like a simple one, but
okay.
What are early submissions? What does that even mean? And this is something that we've been asked specifically, I feel like at shows a lot when we mention it to people. They're like, okay, so early submissions, what does that early mean?
What does the early submission entail?
Yes.
Okay. The best way I can explain this is that your cards, when you submit them on October 1st for early submission, they are not going to be graded as soon as they come back as soon as they land at DCI office. They are going to be put into our vaulted storing location until early 2023. Then they will begin to be graded when we begin opening up the actual submission. So this is kind of a way for you to get your spot in line before, let's just say it's like a theme park, before the ride itself actually opens. You can go ahead, get your place in line. And that way we have got your cards in-house ready to go. The second we open up those submissions, we are going, your cards will be first in line, ready to be processed and sent back to you.
So this is more of kind of getting in the queue to an extent, rather than,
this will not
a normal submission where already beforehand, like the rough estimate of when it's coming back to you and the whole process is going down. It's happening early 2023 is when the slabs are actually going to start getting sent back to people.
Correct. Yep. So cards will not, like you said, will not be sent back from the DCI office until early 2023. But again, this is a way for you to get your cards in the line for our first, go of
So you'll be able to get your DCI slabs first on the market. I think is kind of the big benefit that you'll see in this, is that you could have the first, XYZ player, rookie
Right.
on the market in a DCI slab. I think that's kind of the big benefit here for, I think, if you're looking at this from like an investor standpoint.
Absolutely, especially as we build that pop report, having those cards in early,
Yep.
You can use that to your advantage in marketing on an eBay listing, at a show, things like that.
That's where that eBay 1 of 1 comes in,
That's
guys.
exactly right. DCI 10, pop 1, baby. Let's
Right.
go.
Let's go.
So that's kind of our thinking, that this is also going to allow us to really see what we need between now and when we start sending slabs off, in terms of personnel, in terms of equipment, machinery, things like that. So this is a way, it's kind of a soft opening, if you will, for that DCI slab.
Cool. I like that answer. That sounds great. So that kind of clarifies the early part of the early submission there, guys.
Yes.
So second question I've got, this came from, I believe this was a gentleman on Instagram by the name of Austin. So he asked, will we still be quote unquote cleaning and prepping cards when somebody sends a card in for slabbing, similar to how we have done in the past for RCRs?
For RCRs, correct. Okay, so if you let me clarify, just
right. Is there a difference there? Is it exactly the same process?
Perfect.
What's the difference, or what's the similarities?
So it's a very similar process in terms of what our graders go through. There are a few additional steps now that we have slabs, research and ID, things like that. From a prep standpoint, we have always prepared cards. When you submit them for RCR, for slabs, it will be the same way. We are absolutely going to prepare those cards, make the eye appeal of that card as good as possible, and that will obviously contribute to the overall grade of your card as well.
Right.
But yes, absolutely, that is something that we do. We'll continue to do that on RCRs as well. The one thing I will say is that we have never cleaned a card, and I know that their hobby verbiage kind of gets thrown around a lot. Prep
And this is
clean
just quote for quote what he asked in the question.
Sure. No. Yeah, I'm just saying, kind of from what we have done in the past, we absolutely will prepare your card. We'll wipe that down with a microfiber rag, kind of what is allowed industry standard wise, and we will certainly continue to do that, slabs and RCRs.
So it's basically the same process for the most part, though, in terms of like how we prepare the card.
For the customer, absolutely. The process for preparing the card is the exact same. There's a little bit more information that is put in on our side, on the DCI side of things, but nothing else added to the customer side.
Cool. All right. So appreciate that question. Came through on our Instagram.
Yep.
Next one I've got on the list here is submission restrictions. So are there going to be any restrictions on the types of cards that we are allowed to submit? This is another one that gets brought up a lot at card shows.
And this is a good one. There's a couple different restrictions. So yes, the overall,
and if you forget any, I do have some listed here as well. So
okay, I was going to say,
go for it.
If I forget one, remind me. But
no problem.
Also, so we are going to be going 1986 cards that are 1986 and newer. So nothing prior to 1986 for the time being. Our first,
and that was something we implemented when we introduced the new RCR labels at the National. So that's something we've already been kind of implementing.
Correct. That should have already been on people's mind.
Right.
Is the 1986 and newer. The reason that we're doing that is because of the size of our slab is a uniform size from 86 and beyond. We will be able to do all of those as well, like chrome cards, paper cards, 35, 55 point card stock and below. So your chrome, your Topps chrome, your Bowman chrome, your Prism cards like that, your top paper, flagship, Young Guns, things like that from Upper Deck. All of that is going to be good to go. We are not going to have a holder available right away for patch cards or cards over relic cards, anything over 55 point. That is coming.
So for the technical side of things, 55 points, kind of the number you want to remember. That's the largest size of card you're going to be able to send in at the beginning. So those big old patch autos and a lot of those memorabilia thicker type of cards.
Those will not
be not a day one thing for the early submissions.
Yep, and that's again just the slab that we have coming out is a uniform size. It's going to fit all those 35, 55, all the way up 1986 and newer.
But this will be something we implement in the future. This is just kind of this October to early 2023 gap.
Absolutely, and again, all of that is coming. Patch cards, everything, Again, all that
And
stuff.
I think from a business side, because, again, like you and I see a lot of these things behind the scenes, and I don't want to cut you off too much, but
No.
I think it's one of those things where, this is a lot. Like, it's a lot that goes into this.
Huge
So I
undertaking.
think it's something where, again, we don't want to overwhelm the office here right off the bat by taking on too much. We want to make sure that we do all the very, very important things correctly first before
100%.
we start, tacking on all the extra stuff.
And kind of to your point, I know you mentioned the patches and the autographs, things like that. We actually will be able to grade autograph cards. So autograph cards,
great.
those can come in as long as they are manufacturer, meaning that like you pulled that autograph out of a pack. It's already been certified by Panini. It's been certified by Topps. If it is an in-person autograph, you must have that authenticated by JSA, another third-party authentication company, before it is sent to us. We absolutely will accept those cards from y'all, but we will only be grading the condition of the card.
Okay, so that is something to really think about too, is if you're going to send in an autograph card during this early submission period for DCI, that is going to be a card grade only. So that won't be
grade only.
That won't be, a 10-10 where you get the two separate grades. It'll just be the one grade for the card, but we can accept autograph cards.
Correct.
So long as they fall under those parameters you just talked about.
Correct. That is 100%. And like you said, if you were to send in a rookie autograph, you could still get that card graded as long as that card came from the pack or you had it certified. There just will not be that autograph grade as well. So you would still get like a 10, but there just wouldn't be the extra 10-10 for the auto grade.
Again, also something we will implement in the future.
Absolutely.
It's just this early submission period, starting on October 1st, it won't be a day one thing.
Correct.
During this period. Awesome. All right. And the auto question was actually another one on the list, so we can cross that one off. No problems there. Okay. Pricing wise, I know this will be a pretty short one, but we do get a lot of questions about pricing, so I believe the early submissions, it is fairly simple though on that part.
$18 a card.
Bang.
Flat rate, $18 a card. Can't beat that. It's going to be awesome. Again, guys, those slabs will start mailing back out to you guys in the beginning of 2023.
And there's no upcharge on no matter how big the card is.
No upcharge. Send me your $1 million cards for $18 a card.
Send in your 86
$1
Fleer
card.
Jordans.
That's
Send
right.
in your hollow Charizards.
Let's go.
Send in, the Brady Chromes, all that stuff.
Awesome.
And something again that we've been doing since the RCR days. We've never upcharged.
Never upcharged.
For no matter how big of a card you come and bring to us, and that's something that I'm
We
glad.
will never
I'm
upcharge
glad.
either.
I'm so glad that that's something that is will always be a part of DCI. I've never enjoyed that as a collector.
Right.
I mean, it's coming. You pull that big card.
Right, I get it.
You want to send it in. I understand. But again, this is about bringing the value back to the hobby, and we believe that value in that money belongs in the collector's pocket and
Absolutely.
not in ours. So
100%.
I'm really glad that we're sticking with that, even going into the future.
And
So,
$18 a card. Like, name another grading company out there right now where you can get a card graded for $18
it's not going to happen, guys.
with a custom. I mean,
Maybe with a bulk rate somewhere, you're going to get but I mean, then you're sending in 50 plus whatever cards.
not with a
So,
top of the line slab like
Right.
the one you're going to receive from DCI Grading.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more on that one. So $18 flat rate on the early submissions for the slabs there, guys. Super simple on that one. So another one that we've got here. So this isn't a common one that we get asked,
Okay.
but this is kind of more for our local fan base.
Yep.
So we do have a handful of people who do like to drop orders off at our office here in
Absolutely.
Dallas. Again, it's not everybody, but there are people who do prefer it that way, and we understand. We are in the process, actually, of moving to a bigger office. We are here in Dallas, Farmers Branch area currently. We're moving over to the Frisco area while we're kind of, going through this process as well. So something to keep an eye on October 1st. You'll probably notice our address on our website is going to change from, Dallas to Frisco if it hasn't happened already. But will people still, even after we move to our new office, be able to drop off cards to us in person for slabbing?
Great question. Yes. For those people who like to keep their collectibles out of the mail. I think that's what a lot of this comes down to, especially for
right, because
local.
we've had people fly in too.
We
and
have
drop
had
off
people
big
fly
cards,
in, drop
100%.
off big cards. I think that is certainly they want to keep their value on them. You know what I mean? They don't trust the mail for whatever
100%.
reason. I'm right there. I was going to say,
You and
I'm
I
right
are both
there
right there with you.
I'm right there with
we
you.
don't trust you, USPS, for a second.
That's right. I
All
don't mail my cards.
I'll
anywhere.
throw that shade on the podcast.
That's exactly right. So yes, we will still, we absolutely will still take drop-offs. I imagine you'll be able to pick up completed orders from our office as well.
If anybody has ever dropped off, RCR orders for us in the past, and that's something you want to continue to do for slabs, it's going to be a very similar process. Obviously, there might be a little bit different paperwork to do, for a slab submission and things like that. So it may be a little bit longer that you're going to be at the office just to make sure that all the information is correct for your submission. But that is something we will welcome with our local fan base.
Absolutely.
Even after we move offices.
And we love that. We hope to see all of y'all at our new office and supporting DCI because we
don't worry about that one too much, guys. We just need a little bit more room. That's all it is.
We need more space.
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have 100%. And Frisco is an awesome city to be in right now if you're in the sports industry.
I was going to say they're trying to make it the sports capital of the world.
Yep.
Frisco,
and
Texas, baby.
They're killing it right now. If anybody lives in that area, you would know what's up. So
that's right. We'll add DCI into the mix, baby.
Hell yeah.
We're coming in.
Yeah, and
coming in hot.
You and I haven't even really gotten to get the full scope. We've seen pictures and things like that, but I can't wait till, we're ready to move in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Man. So another development there for you guys. But yes, you'll see our address on our website. Drop-off orders will always be welcome, you guys. Now, I think this is kind of the last big question I've got here, and this is one that we've certainly talked about a lot. But this is about sending in DCI RCRs, cards that have already been raw card reviewed by DCI grading for slabbing. We've talked about that we were going to give the collector, a benefit for that. And we've said that, hey, we've been telling people at card shows, hold on to these for when slabs drop and things like that. So why don't you go ahead and just give a little bit of a breakdown here for, a big breakdown of what that means.
Absolutely.
If I have a stack of RCRs and I want to send them in for slabbing, what do I get for that?
Awesome. Okay. Again, so going back to the overarching, goal of DCI is to put the value back into the hands of the collectors, right? So if we were telling you guys, hold your DCI 9s, your 10s, until our slabs come out, well, now is the time to give you all that value back, okay? Those cards, if you send them in and they're already DCI RCR'd, you can send them in for $18. You are actually going to receive the next tier up in terms of turnaround time for our service levels, right? So we'll just say 18 is our bulk service level.
Right.
We'll call the next one economy, the next one up. If we'll just say bulk has a 6-month turnaround time, economy has a 3-month. And I'm just making this up. I'm spitballing just for the sake of this example. If you were to send your DCI RCRs in at our our bulk level, the $18 speed, you will receive the economy service in turnaround time. Does that make sense?
So you're going to get your cards back faster.
You will get your
cards
back. If you want to put
it into layman's terms.
Absolutely. You will get your, for the same price as whichever tier you select, you will receive 1 tier faster service for turnaround time.
All right.
So that is not only that, but a near guarantee on all.
That's a big one as well.
Pre-DCI graded. It's going to be something, 98% of them are going to come back exactly
right. I mean, we can't guarantee 100%, obviously, that you're going to get the exact same grade in the slab as you will on the RCR. You never know. Things happen. Again, we were just talking about shipping problems. You never know when your card gets crushed in shipping, and that always sucks. It's happened to the best of us. And
so we will
things of those nature. So those cards do have to be re-reviewed. They do have to be. They got to go through the full process.
The full process, yes, sir.
And a lot of that has to do with, again, like you've talked about, the back end data side of things.
100%.
Making sure that the grader was accurate on that grade as well, but then also something that we haven't mentioned in this particular episode but have mentioned in the past, the video review.
Correct.
So
that is going to provide you not only a little more detail into the actual condition of the card, it's again the why my card got this grade. That's another just a layer of value we're adding to the grading scene.
That's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there's one thing I think about these slabs that we have really hyped up, it's been the video review.
But something else I really think the like you said, the not 100% guarantee on that grade, but it absolutely is going to be above 90, 95, 98%.
Oh yeah,
because
I think we can comfortably say it's going to be like you said, 98-ish%.
And that's because
for sure.
we stand by our work. We tell
Absolutely.
people all the time, send off your DCI 9s and tell us how many get 10s. You know what I mean? We have the best grading staff, the best grading team, I think, in the industry, in our office every single day. So absolutely, those guys that we trained who graded your cards 2 years ago, they've done nothing but get better. You know what I mean? And so when that card comes back through, they're going to see the same exact thing that they saw 2 years ago. They are ultra consistent and ready to go. And so I know that we can't give a 100% guarantee on that just because of the circumstances like the mail, things like that. It's just I want people to know how consistent our grading team is. So if those cards have not, if you've taken good care of it, I think, and this is a good way, right? If you've taken good care of your cards, you don't have anything to worry about. Literally nothing. Yeah.
I don't think you have nothing to worry about. If that's a DCI 10 and that thing has been chilling, in your case or in your PC or whatever, and it hasn't been touched, you should be feeling confident.
Let's go.
You're going to be fine. All right. If your car accidentally ran over, a stack of cards one time, and you're like, oh, it might be okay in the DCI holder,
we're probably going to see.
We might have to take a look at that one again.
We're probably going to catch those. But that's what I mean.
Right.
the obvious
that's
stuff.
That 2% we're talking about.
Those are the ones that are going to change.
Yeah, it's not anything where even though you are like don't or like some other. It's one of those things where as long as you've taken care of the card, you're going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I think that is those are obviously the big questions that we get asked. Again,
that's what I've got in terms of the really big questions. If there's anything that you've thought of, prior to the episode that you wanted to address real quick. But overall, I think that was a lot of, if anything, that we haven't already addressed in the past as well.
Right.
Or that we haven't talked to somebody about. Again, guys, you can drop any other questions that you have in the comments, DM us on any of our social media. We are willing to help you guys in any way whatsoever. But this is just an episode to provide as much info to you guys as possible, try to answer your FAQs, and make you feel confident to send your cards in to us for slabs.
October 1st, guys, right around the corner. Right around the corner. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Actually, before we wrap up, I do also want to mention, I know this was a big slab episode, but we do have a lot of shows going on right now.
That's a good point.
We are basically stacked on shows for all of October. So I thought we would give a quick shout out here at the end of the episode to all of the shows that we've got going on throughout October as well.
So I know, this weekend we've got Arlington.
Tried and True, the Dallas Card Show. Arlington edition is what I like to call it.
300 tables in Arlington. Hope to see everybody out there this weekend if you are local in DFW. Jed and I will be at the Las Vegas Card Show. I know Big Sexy Bradley Crenshaw is already out there for the Industry Summit.
I'm out on that one, but that's all good. That's because I'm going the next week after Vegas to Del Mar, California for the Union Marketplace, another kick-ass show with some awesome people. Love the guys that run that show. Cannot wait to see how that one has improved from last time as well. Had a lot of fun the first time. They've been hyping up a lot of the improvements that they're making for it this time around. It should be even bigger and better.
Those are some of the best dudes in the hobby, just for what it's worth. I love the Union Marketplace. They care so much.
Talk about guys who also, want to bring a lot of value back to collectors and to the hobby.
Yes.
Those guys who run the Union Marketplace show are all about it.
They're upgrading their venue. They upgrade their marketing.
They've upgraded the floor plan and all that type of stuff.
The better of the hobby, though. That's a great event. I can't wait for that one.
They were they were really big on feedback from the first show. They heard from the vendors. They heard from the fans. They were like, we hear you. We're going to make it better.
And they've done that.
Oh, and their marketing is great, too. And so is the Las Vegas Card Shows. They've crushed it with their marketing. And then finally, to round out the month of October, we're also hitting Nashville.
Nashville, baby.
Which is, I don't know, actually. I'm pretty sure I'm on that one as well. But, yeah, that'll be a fun show as well. Have not gotten to go to that area specifically yet to see what the hobby's like out there. The last couple Nashville card shows I've heard have been awesome.
Yes.
So I'm certainly excited for it as well. But yeah, stacked this month, guys, on card shows for DCI. We've got one every weekend for the month of October. It's been a couple of months since we've been stacked for, every single weekend.
That's right. But we're ready to get back on the road.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Come out and see us, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I am DCI Jason again.
I'm DCI Grayson.